everyone, and welcome back to this week's episode of Rock Solid Summit Blue. I'm Corinne Muth.
I'm Stephen Mason.
And I'm Sawyer Hunley.
And we are back to talk some very exciting things. We didn't have an episode last week because we all had spring recess. We all went home for Easter. Right, Stephen? You went home?
Yes.
Yes. And a lot of things happened that we have to get into today. Relating around basketball.
Yeah,
Because
there was a point last week and early this week where the Lady Bulls had nobody on their roster.
Mhm.
They go 0, which is wild to think about.
Yeah, every single person on their roster was in the transfer portal. They had, I kept seeing jokes online where it's like, Lady Ball basketball team has to host open gym,
Yeah.
to get a team.
That's so crazy. I sent you all that TikTok, and it was like, they were like, Kim, fight back. Just like, and that was so funny because literally was so real because there was nobody. I mean, just it's crazy how, I think I've heard of like a lot of players transferring. I don't know that I'd ever heard of a whole team transferring.
I don't think I have either.
That's crazy. And I mean, people were all like, before the season, and they're like, everybody's going to transfer. And I was like, okay, that's like, right, everybody. And then literally everybody did. So that was true. But that's crazy.
But I think it might be a good thing in many ways. It's going to be a complete reset of the locker room. All new players. Also, the coaching staff is also getting turned on its head right now.
It is.
Yeah, Kim Caldwell hired,
She hired the assistant from Georgia. I cannot remember her name. Steven, do you remember her name?
I'll look at it.
I mean, you have to start out with Roman. Left.
Right. Roman
Thought
Tubner.
Thought he was going to LSU. Turns out he took a job.
Oh, yeah, that was Gabe Lazo. Gabe Lazo,
sorry.
That's right. Roman was fired. Roman Tubner was fired.
Yes.
Gabe Lazo took the job at LSU for a day, then ends up getting the head coach job at UCF, which is a good job. UCF has a solid women's basketball program, so good for Gabe Lazo.
And he's taking a member of the staff with him.
Yes, just did see that.
I don't want to...
Josh Theis, the director of video, is following him, too.
There you go.
I don't want to butcher her name, but...
Should take a whack at it.
We can let Steven try.
Isoken
Uzamir?
Yeah.
Something.
That's who the Lady Vols hired.
Yes.
Isoken, maybe.
As a
Maybe
new
it's Isoken. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a surprising thing to me. Obviously Georgia's head coach was fired.
Even after they had a good season.
Yeah.
Did they make the Sweet 16?
They lost first round.
Okay.
But to Virginia, which
right.
wasn't upset. But at the same time, they had a really good season. They upset Vandy.
Oh, that's right.
They were solid. Katie Abrahamson Henderson was their former coach. And, that's just, I really thought she did a good job. Matter of fact, she was the former coach at UCF. We've talked about UCF. She was a former UCF coach, and they hired her at Georgia a few years ago, like 4 years ago or something like that. And I thought, this year, I thought she did a good job. But it's also... I'm sure y'all seen this. Virginia's head coach was fired after she led them to the Sweet 16.
Yes, that's the one, yeah.
That was crazy. I guess it shows you coaches nowadays
hot seats
everywhere.
I was almost certain they were going to fire Kim Caldwell.
I didn't ever think they were going to do it. I just didn't really get the vibes off of the athletic department that was going to happen, even though there's a very, very compelling argument to make that she should be fired. Especially after she lost her entire team, because you're talking about the rebuild. You hire a head coach, the theory is you give him 3 years. First year, you set your, the environment in the locker room.
And she did a good job of that.
She did a very good job. And then the second year, you're supposed to get your players all together. And the third year is when it's supposed to take off. But it is just gone the opposite order.
Yeah, it's really weird. That's, I think a lot of people were obviously calling for her head. Obviously people were during the season because people just get mad and just obviously with the losses. But then people were like, you lose your whole team. Why are you still the coach?
Right.
But
that's what I thought.
It's like Steven mentioned, it could be a good thing. There seemed to be some toxicity on this team.
Oh, yes. It was.
For sure.
You witnessed it firsthand in the last game of the season, there at Michigan. I mean, you could see it on TV.
Oh, yeah. Nia Barker, even at the very last game, quote unquote sick, but
Oh yeah,
no,
that's right.
no.
That seems really interesting.
Well, we talked to her. She talked to the media the night before, so she was
looked
not
fine,
sick.
didn't
Looked
she?
very fine. But like the whole environment of that open practice they had before is just very strange, and it kind of is understandable. Obviously, you have Talaysia Cooper going to Ole Miss, and you look back on like that Ole Miss game, and the no handshake. There was definitely discussion about that being tampering being a possibility even back then. So like, how can you even have a locker room when your best player has 1 foot out the door? So it's kind of understandable looking back. This absolute meltdown towards the end of the year. That's not even getting into the coaches either.
Yeah, that's not even getting to the coaches. Obviously, there has been speculation that no specific coach named, but was trying to make the players basically not listen to Coach Caldwell.
Yeah.
Which is a crazy thing.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's wild.
It's a wild. I cannot. Was it the Sports Animal that reported that? It was. They said that basically they were trying to follow. They didn't specify Roman Tubner or Gabe Lazo.
But you got to think it was the one that got punted.
Fired.
You gotta think it was. Obviously, a lot of former Lady Vols now, because like I know Dominiah Prawl came out there and she is a former Lady Vol now. They were saying like he didn't do that, but like
keyword, they're all former Lady Vols.
Exactly.
They're all so.
Right.
Why
you
would
could take their word with a grain of salt.
right?
I think I saw Candace Parker say something. She was in like an interview. And I saw her say something about like the program.
I think she did. I don't remember. I think it may have been. She got interviewed out at the Final Four, and I think she said something. Also, another one to bring up, Holly Rowe.
Yeah, she deleted that post, didn't she?
Did she?
She did, apparently. But,
know.
I mean, it's out there for, the internet is forever. So.
Probably
The
on
internet
Twitter
is forever. I'm going to see if I can find her exact words.
I mean, she was going right for Danny White,
She
which
was
is, to be fair, I think.
Yeah,
it's definitely on Twitter.
She did
somewhere.
delete it. Here it is. It's still, there, you look it up. It's just already
It's deleted.
on
Here it is.
But, okay, she says, this is her direct words.
Holly Rowe.
Holly Rowe, obviously probably the lead sideline reporter for ESPN.
Yeah, for sure.
And it is women's basketball.
Exactly. She said, what Danny White is allowing to happen to Lady Vol Hoops is making me so sad. Gut-wrenching to watch him let one of the greatest programs in women's sports history disintegrate. I am devastated. That's some strong words from...
Truth hurts.
And that's
Truth
and I
hurts.
see people coming back and they were like on the tweet and they were like, what do you know about the program, this and that? And I'm like, is she wrong?
Yeah.
Is she wrong?
Where's the lie?
Exactly.
I'm not sure exactly what Danny, because this program has always been well supported financially. I think the mistake came. I think looking back, it's fair to say that Kim Caldwell was not the right hire.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this. You've touched on that a lot, and I agree with you, Stephen. I mean, she had one.
1 year Division I.
That's like
and
it was at Marshall. Like
It
it's
was
just
crazy.
that's right.
I don't know how much you could trust the hire. I remember when she was hired, I was kind of like,
It was a gamble.
yeah, I was like,
It was definitely
this is a little
gamble.
disappointing. It's a little bit of a gamble,
And it like makes you think, who else interviewed? Like if she was the
Yeah.
best, like if Danny White thought she was the best option, like where?
She must have sold her program,
her style.
Yeah. Oh, true,
really
maybe.
well, because that has not played out at all. And I think she's going
Yeah.
to have to make some adjustments going forward, because there are programs, like we talked about Michigan, that actually do a full press fairly well, but it's not, putting everybody in the front court. It's, dropping at least two back.
Well, a lot of
Yeah.
presses you'll see is a lot more zone presses. These like man-to-man presses, like what she runs, they're just fairly easy to beat. I mean, it's just
I
like
noticed
they're
that.
just it's really hard to consistently run it to perfection at the Division I SEC level. I don't know. We've talked a lot about this. I guess we could turn to some of the good. If talk about the one commit they got today.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Avery Mills from Liberty, who averaged 15.3 points per game and 4 rebounds per game. And this is the number right here that definitely attracted Kim Caldwell, 43% from three-point line.
Oh.
I'm sure it's a very
pretty
intriguing
good.
number. Did see when they played here a few years ago, which was Kim Caldwell's first year, the Avery Mills dropped 19 here in Thompson Bowling.
That last year, I assume.
That was. And
Yeah.
so Avery Mills, a solid pickup. What do y'all think?
I mean, it's someone to, obviously for her, it's a pretty brave step to be the first one to sign yourself to a program, to a very empty locker room that will welcome her here at the Pratt Pavilion when she makes her way onto campus. But But I think it's a fantastic pickup. It's definitely something to build around. That shooting capabilities is something that the Lady Vols lack consistency this year in a big way. So I think that's a really good building block, to go forward, because we'll have to see who else they manage to pull from the portal. It's going to be a tough sell, I think, to get people to
for
go.
sure.
I agree.
I think it's a step in the right direction.
Yes.
Like, for sure.
That's what we've been looking for.
Yeah, right?
Gosh.
Yeah, seriously. Are we delusional? Maybe not.
Yeah. Delusion has been really our
Delusion
word
has
for
been
the
our
last
friend.
month or two.
Yeah.
So
But yeah, no, it's definitely a step in the right direction.
You have Gabby Milas, who's
Yeah.
the signee class of 2026. She has committed to the program, too.
she's like a top 60 recruit. In
60,
there.
yeah, 4-star, 6'1" wing from
you go.
Georgia.
That's solid.
Yeah.
That's another thing you can build around, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I know that. Gosh, y'all, I'm terrible with names. I'm sorry, but the Northern Colorado, Northern Arizona transfer. She was the leading scorer this year, leading freshman scorer in the country. She was coming on a visit at some point this week. Cannot remember her name, y'all. I'm sorry,
Shoot,
but I saw it on
think I know
Twitter.
who you're talking about.
Watched some of her highlights. She looked really solid. I mean, it's just finding players that are willing to come. I mean, you got to have players to put on the court.
Yeah.
They only have 2 on the roster now for next season, and 2v5 would not roll over very well.
No.
So
Kim would have to get out there herself.
Kim would have to get out there herself.
do something fancy.
And
They could just do
so-
an open gym and see.
I know.
Yeah.
Corinne, go try out. Go try out for the Lady Vols.
Yeah.
We'll put you out on the
The
court.
little 5'4" girl in the center. and
Yes,
just
exactly.
See what happens.
Like, this is, I mean, at this point, y'all,
They're desperate.
they're
desperate.
desperate.
Yeah.
They need players. We'll see what they can get out of the portal. They're
Yeah.
they got some money. They
Yeah.
can throw some money at some girls.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
bring some players in. And
I was talking to my dad, and I'm not sure if this was like men and women or just men or whatever, but he said that I think upwards of like after, I think it's specifically basketball, but after the season was over, upwards of like 1,300 people or players
Yes.
are going to be in the transfer
crazy.
portal.
I think
Yeah.
that was the men's. And
Yeah.
Over half, I think.
which
which is crazy.
I mean, think about that. I mean, it's just,
it's insane to me.
I-
And he said that, and I was like, "Are you serious?"
it's crazy. It's just, and it's only going to get crazier. I mean, we still have players entering on the men's side, on the women's side. I mean, it's just the whole NIL thing. I mean,
Disaster.
Yeah.
it's a disaster.
I did see that the
All
NCAA seems to be pushing some sort of regulations, at least also in
Yes.
executive order, a 5-year
yeah.
limit.
Yes.
No redshirt years,
Yes,
so you have 5
my
years.
dad was telling me about this.
And you have one chance to transfer, I think.
They said President
Yeah.
Trump signed off on
Yeah.
this too. So
that's
this
good.
could be, you can only transfer, the way my dad explained it, you can only transfer once. And if you transfer again, you have to sit out a year.
And that goes to eligibility.
And it goes to
Oh,
eligibility.
Fantastic.
interesting.
So
That's good.
it will hold people away from transferring twice. Transferring once, I understand. Sometimes you go to a school,
Yeah.
you're in a bad situation, you don't enjoy it yourself, whatever it may be, you want to transfer. That makes sense. But again, y'all, there's some of these players I've seen more in men's basketball than women that transfer every year. And
Yeah.
it's just like,
Well, and that makes people like not want to follow.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You don't know, like,
You don't
you
know
know, you like this, guy or girl on the same team, but they're not going to be there. Like,
You think about like the especially on the men's side, you had like these like absolute cultural figureheads like JP Estrella,
Kate
and Kate
Phillips.
Phillips leaving the program.
people loved them.
They loved them, and that's just gonna hurt your like buy-in from fans.
Yeah,
'Cause they're like,
100%. And then you gotta, as a coach and a team, you gotta go out there and win games to buy those fans back, like,
Yeah.
and get them back interested. So then it puts a lot more pressure on the team itself to
Yeah.
be great. And
Yeah, it's
when you
totally
got guys like JP and Cade out there, people are gonna follow them just because they like them and they think
Yeah.
they've been great culture pieces. But now it's gonna be, for the men's side, it's gonna be a lot of buying some fans back, and women's
Buying
too.
players.
well, there's
I know.
nobody.
Literally.
There's nobody other, but I don't think there's much buy-in for any of the players this
Yeah.
year from the fan base. I think saw a lot of people saying being very happy about the senior class being done with and things like that.
Right.
For understandable reasons, because there's just so much drama around the program.
Right.
Couldn't
There
get
is.
yourself a break.
I saw, this is like not off topic, but like kind of. I saw, Audie Crooks, the
She
girl
did.
from Iowa State. She,
Oklahoma.
is she going to
I think
Oklahoma?
she's going to Oklahoma.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she
I
entered the
think
transfer portal.
Yeah,
she'll end up at
But,
Oklahoma.
I mean, she had a good season at Iowa State,
Yeah.
and I saw her enter the transfer portal, and I was like, why is she in the transfer?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
like they went kind of far in the, what's it called? You
Yeah,
know, in the
tournament, yeah.
tournament. Like, I was really confused, and I was like, okay. Anyways, I was just really confused. So
Yeah, I agree. That's Iowa State lost a lot of players. It was Iowa State and Tennessee that probably lost like the most. And
maybe they can just flip flop teams.
yeah, exactly.
Can we just trade?
Exactly. And so I don't know, y'all. It's the game today. It's just the
It's just like
the men's
money.
and women's game. It's just this new transfer portal and NIL era that is going to have players moving all the time. I've seen like a lot of Texas's play. Texas made the Final Four, and
they're
Where are you going to
transferring?
go?
where are you going? I mean, Aaliyah Crump is entering. Aaliyah Crump was a freshman. I don't know that she started for them. She played heavy minutes. I think Jordan Lee, another player that's a sophomore for them that averaged 13 and 2
They
assists.
beat South Carolina
I know,
in
and
the SEC championship.
Exactly. And all these players are entering the portal, and it's
Oh my
like,
gosh.
what are, like, why? You have, I mean, Vic
yeah.
Schaefer, I don't think he's retiring, right, this year at least. And, like,
No.
they still have Madison Booker back next year. They might be, like, the best player in the nation next year. And, like,
She's good.
and you're going to transfer away from that? Why, y'all? It's just like Texas is going to
Yeah.
have a chance to make another Final Four run, and you're transferring away.
It doesn't make sense. It
no,
really doesn't.
it doesn't.
And like, I mean, you could always question like, you know, environmental.
That's right.
You know, like, you know, we don't know anything about that, but also like, you want to be on a winning
Winning
team.
team.
would
You know,
think.
like it's
You would
hard to get beat and not like this season. It's hard to get beat. You know, 8 out of 11 games, or you know,
right.
like that's hard.
Yeah,
you know?
those Texas transfers, I mean, dang.
I didn't even know that they transferred.
Yeah, and those are two, like, big
names,
key
up and coming,
contributors
Mhm.
that they definitely
Yeah,
had.
Yeah, and
Like-
it's so funny because normally, like, I check ESPN or, you know, some other source of, like, who's transferred or not.
Mhm.
But if ESPN posted every time someone transferred, their Instagram would just be, like,
Like,
literally,
1,000 extra posts.
They
like,
they literally can't keep up with
so
it.
transferred. And it's like, dude, oh my, stay put.
I
Stay
know.
put. Like,
Well,
It was a national championship last year.
There
wasn't
was
it?
a
It was a
national
really
championship.
unimpressive tournament, though. I
It
mean,
was.
it was very
Y'all.
chalked and very non-competitive.
it was not exciting, y'all. It wasn't
I
exciting.
saw a stat. It was all one seeds, obviously, the Final Four. None of them were played with closer than to 10 points at any point during the tournament.
Oh.
And even the Final Four games were also kind of one-sided. The Texas UCLA game was just like an offensive just
It was
dud.
ugly.
Yeah.
It was ugly.
It was very ugly. And then the national championship was also very one-sided. It was
yeah.
yeah, UCLA killed them.
like South Carolina.
Yeah.
That was, man. You
There's a lot of
know,
drama, too.
yeah. So I guess we could go. Let's turn it back to the Final Four. South Carolina beats UConn
Yeah.
62-48, and let's be real. South Carolina dominated UConn.
yes.
It wasn't even competitive, really. I know it kind of got close in the third quarter, but
Yeah.
just never felt like UConn was going to get there. South
No.
Carolina had a grasp on the game the whole time, and then after the game, drama, and Gino was on one on Friday night.
UConn coach.
The UConn head women's coach decides to not shake Dawn Staley's hand after the game for what he says, because Dawn didn't shake his hand before the game.
But she did.
But she did.
Yeah, it was funny because I think I saw it on Instagram, or maybe it was TikTok, and I think it was someone from the South Carolina side, but it was like, is this the handshake Gino said never happened?
Yes.
And it's them like shaking hands and like
Literally.
saying hi. And I
Or
was
like, South Carolina tore one of his player jerseys when it's just like very black and white. The player
Yeah.
tore
Right,
her own
yeah, that
jersey.
was Sarah Strong.
Yeah, she,
Sarah
like-
Strong tore her own jersey, and after
Yeah.
the game, she was like, "Yeah, I did it out of frustration." Yeah,
makes
Okay.
sense.
I mean,
like, why are you like lying?
Yeah,
that
and
was like the
then-
middle of the game, I guess.
yeah,
to
it
be fair,
was.
but-
Gino comes out at the end of the
Yeah.
third quarter, and he's on there with Holly, bless Holly Rowe. She's got to put up with it, and she's had to put up with it for a long time. But he's like, one of my players' jerseys is ripped. Like, yeah, she ripped it. Like, and you have Ryan Rucco and Rebecca Lobo over here trying to like make a case for Sarah Strong ripping her jersey. Like, yeah, I think somebody might have started ripping it. No, she did it on her own.
You could
like,
see the video. No one was around her, and she took it by the collar and like ripped it in half.
Which is like, I get it. She was frustrated. She had a frustrating game. Sarah Strong did not play well. She is the National Player of the Year, and she did not play well. But it happens.
Yeah.
It happens. And what Gino did, I know we can all agree, it was just childish.
I thought you said that someone said that Gino had like started to rip it, and I was like, that would be really frowned upon.
That
if that's
would
what
be very
actually
frowned
happened.
Like his cleanup afterwards too, like like a really sad apology that was given through the UConn women's basketball, I guess, account. Didn't even mention Dawn Staley by name. I think yesterday he threw out another apology where he did mention her by name, said that a conversation, but like he's just proving to be like one of the, I mean, when he's winning, he's like a very, I guess you could handle him sort of guy.
Yeah.
But it becomes very clear that if you beat him a few times, like his relationship with Pat Summitt, like obviously like his relationship with Dawn Staley, like if you beat him a few times, he takes it very personally, I guess.
Yeah,
and starts acting like a clown.
I go back to 2023. UConn came into here in the building we're right next to, into Thompson Bowling, and in the first quarter, UConn dominated the game. Not many fouls were called. Second quarter, Tennessee gets back in it, and it's like a 4-point game. Holly Rowe interviews him at halftime, and he's like, this is like the officials changed. We didn't change. They changed. This is what you get when you come down here to Knoxville. This is what you get. And everybody's just like, dude, are you kidding me? And I'm like, poor Holly Rowe. Bless her. She has to deal with all this, but he's always when things aren't going his way.
He's a very insufferable person.
He's a very insufferable
and it's been like
person.
that for years too. Like he was very toxic with Pat Summitt too.
Very toxic.
And I cannot stand that when people say greatest women's basketball coach of all time.
Oh my
gosh. To be fair, he's won more championships, but you have to take into account that Pat Summitt.
I mean,
she
had 8.
Yeah.
But like her career was obviously shortened with health issues, and also like what she did for the sport was way
different and
way better. Because like you have things like what Gino did over this past weekend, and this does not help the women's sport at all.
Pat never did anything like that. Like she was just. It was funny. I was actually talking to my mom on the way over here, and we were talking about Pat. And she watched I told y'all about the documentary that just came out about Pat. It was really good.
Dad told me about that too.
It was really good. It talks a lot about her. It was funny. She mentioned Gino at one point, and Candace Parker dunked on UConn. Candace Parker dunked twice in an NCAA tournament game, but she dunked once up at UConn. Yeah. And the reporter was asking Pat, like, so she only dunked once up at UConn? She was like, yeah. Gino couldn't have handled her dunking twice, and I was like, that's classic.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, her and Gino, it was a rough relationship for sure. It was just.
Oh no, I think that's a table. I was like, is that your foot? No,
but just her and Gino, really rough relationship. That
he just likes making enemies. It seems
just likes making enemies. That's okay, and I'm glad UConn lost.
Yeah,
and I just think the thing I hate the most. The NCAA tournament really wasn't competitive for the women's side.
It was chalk. Like, and there's also discussions now of like expanding it to 76 teams. Like, you should be cutting the women's tournament.
We should be cutting it.
Yeah.
We should be cutting it.
It is so top heavy. It's not even like the first weekend there are like no entertaining watches.
No. I mean, that's what we talked about that.
Predictable.
It is
ridiculously predictable. It's like which one seed's going to win it pretty much. Like, might as well like go back and have like freaking bowl games
literally for women's college basketball because it's just not exciting, y'all. And I normally get excited for the women's Final Four, women's national title.
Yeah, me too.
It wasn't even exciting.
But like, look at even the Elite 8 games. UCLA wins by 12. Texas wins by 36.
Yep. Dang.
South Carolina wins by 26. And UConn won by 18. Like, those are not, and like that's not going to do anything for your sport. And like, no one's going to want to tune in to watch this game.
My dad was because they played the championship like the day I was flying home on Sunday or whatever. And I turned on he was like, "Are you watching the game?" And I was like, "No, like I just got home." And he was like, I watched the first half, but I'm scared to watch the second half because they're up now that I turned it off, and I don't want to, like, turn it back on.
Right.
And then I looked at the score, and it was like, I think it was like 60-something, 41 or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, Dad, I think you're going to be okay.
Yeah,
like,
I think you need to turn it back on.
I think you can turn the game back on. Like, but yeah, and then they ended up winning.
I mean, really, it was the fourth quarter that kind of salvaged the score for South Carolina, made it look somewhat respectable. Other than that, it was absolute domination. Like, UCLA outscored them 25-9 in the third.
Oh, dang.
It's like, ugly. Not good for the sport, I don't think.
No, I was upset. I was really hoping that game was going to be competitive, and
yeah,
y'all,
me too.
let's just be real. UCLA's did what they have done all year. They dominated.
Yep.
They've been dominant all year besides the one loss they had to Texas, and they avenged that in the Final Four and then dominated the national title. So congratulations to Corey Close.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
She's been there since 2011, has worked really hard.
She's been there a long time.
Maybe
I didn't
we
know
can,
that.
Maybe
Yes.
Danny White can entice her to come out to Knoxville.
Maybe we
Throw
can
more
throw
money
some
at her.
money at her.
Well, we're
Yeah.
paying Kim more than we're paying. I think I saw she's making around like $800,000 or something.
Uh-huh.
I think Kim's making close to $1 million now.
Very
Dang.
close.
And then you
Speaking
put in
of
like the whole
Kim
living
Caldwell.
expenses and taxes of like
Yeah.
LA versus like.
Oh, yeah, true.
You could be making a whole lot more money over here.
Wait, you said 800,000. I was like, only 800,000, and then I was like, wait, 800,000? Like, that's a lot.
That's what I like for some of these little contracts coaches sign these
That's-
days, but
It's unreal,
Yeah.
y'all. But at the end of the day, let's rate the NCAA women's tournament. What do y'all rate it?
2 out of 10.
I
It
was
was
gonna
bad.
say like a 6.
Oh wow,
I was gonna give it a little bit
that was
more.
Corinne's being kind.
I'll boost it a bit higher just because I went and watched a little bit in person, but yeah.
Oh,
That was like the
yeah.
only entertaining part for me.
Yeah.
True. Yeah, I'll be real, y'all. I tried to watch some of it. Tried to watch some of the Elite Eight games. Just got bored. Tried to
Yeah.
watch some of the Final Four games. I did watch most of the whole Texas UCLA game, even though it was ugly. It was
Ugly.
It was so ugly, but. Low-key, I was kind of rooting for Texas. I don't know why, but I was kind of rooting for Texas. Of course, they didn't
Weird
win.
love-hate
But
relationship. with
I know,
Texas.
yeah, it's weird. But I like Madison Booker, and of course, she played horrible.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's a really fun
Oh.
player to watch. But they lost. But I'll give it like a 4.72, just a random ranking
good.
because I it was so unentertaining that
Yeah.
a lot of it I didn't watch. So
Yeah.
I tried to watch some of it and. There just wasn't that many good games. It was just really, really disappointing. But at the end of the day, congratulations to UCLA.
Come on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
That was
It's not South Carolina or UConn winning.
Right.
This year, so
Right,
that's
so
good
we're
different.
good.
we have a new team,
Yeah.
and that's UCLA's first national title in women's basketball
Yeah,
history.
That was exciting.
It's really cool.
One of my like high school, my dad's a teacher, so like this makes more sense. But like I texted one of my like high school leaders, like she was my ASB teacher or whatever, and she went to UCLA, and her entire room looks like this, the room we're
Right.
in, but UCLA stuff.
Okay.
Like she ran track and field at UCLA, like she's like big UCLA, and I texted her and I was like, "Yay, like go your Bruins!" And she was all excited about it. But
That's awesome.
yeah.
That's fun. That's so cool that people
Yeah.
get to see. Like that's what I was telling somebody the other day. I was like, "Yo, I want a national title. I want to
Yeah,
celebrate." I know we had one in baseball a few years ago, but like,
Oh, yeah.
I want a basketball or a football one. I want to celebrate.
Yeah.
It's fun to celebrate a national title.
Yeah, it
so
is.
I wish we could do something like that.
Yeah.
But well, there is a team on campus that definitely could compete for a national title.
This is
Yeah.
true.
That is Karen Weekly's Lady Vol softball team.
Mm-hmm.
They've they now sit at a record of 33-6.
Pretty
Finally
good.
got the offense going again.
Finally
last
got
night.
the offense going
Yeah.
again last
Took a
night.
minute, but
I was there covering the game for Rock Solid. Yeah, a lot of offense in the 5 innings that we got to see. 12 runs on 12 hits for Tennessee last night against ETSU. After the past 2 series against Ole Miss and South Carolina, they only were averaging 2 runs a game. So,
Yeah.
no, there's obviously a difference in Ole Miss and South Carolina and ETSU. But sometimes confidence can be infectious. Sorry, I could not figure out my word. But hopefully that is what happens, and they carry that into the rest of conference play.
because
Yeah.
the offense was looking elite at the beginning of the year.
Was.
It's really
Yeah,
good. And then
they
the bat
were.
just went ice cold. And they were playing on good teams at the beginning of the year. So I'm not really sure what happened, but you would hope that this kind of game would kind of power them into the next SEC series.
They kind of started their bump in the road with Florida, right?
They did.
Yeah,
that was the first. That was the first
that series.
They did because they lost the game to Mississippi State.
Oh, that's
Mississippi State has a really good pitching staff.
Yeah, they do.
Lost the game. It is what it is. But Florida was that first bump in the road.
They were in Florida.
They were.
Yeah.
And you know, I don't know, y'all. It's just like that. Games like that are gonna happen. And I was like, I wasn't very much panicking after the Florida series because it was pretty competitive. Florida's a really good team. Probably
it was like a pitching
it was pitchers dueled all 3 games really, and nobody really could get the bats going. And Florida kind of just shockingly had the better pitching. Carlin Pickens was not really on her A game that weekend. But
was
then
that the weekend after she was like questionable for her shoulder?
Yeah.
Okay,
so the weekend before is when she came back and made her played her first game back, but then the Florida game was like her first full series back, and she played Friday night, she played some Saturday, and then Sunday as well.
I think she pitched like 8 innings.
Yeah, she pitched it like a solid amount of innings, and she was okay. She just was not the Carlin Pickens that we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And they dropped that series. And then the series I think that really worried me was the next weekend with Ole Miss.
Yep.
Ole Miss came in.
Didn't they lose that series?
They did.
They only scored 1 run in the first 2 games. I mean,
that's just
1 in the first, 1 in the second.
Yeah. And that's 1 run's not going to cut it against SEC opponents, nor against the postseason opponents they're going to face in the next. Y'all, it's crazy. We're going to be in the postseason of softball in a month. Literally a month from now, we'll be heading into the SEC tournament. So,
May 5th.
Yeah.
It was also interesting that they lost that series because in the rankings, Ole Miss is 19 and we're 6.
Right, and that was probably at the time because Ole Miss actually, now Ole Miss is they were 0-9 coming into that series in SEC play.
Really?
And they were ranked to start the season. I don't know where they were at that point, but they were 0-9 in SEC play. And we let them come in and get the first 2 games of the series. And it was, I remember Steven texting and was like, should we be worried about the softball team? And I was like, yes. Like the offense is really worrying me. And thank goodness Lady Vols were able to salvage game 3 because if they weren't able to do that, goodness gracious, it would not have been good. A sweep against Ole Miss would not have been good.
And then Carlin Pickens got her golden ticket to
the
Professional Softball League.
And that was on Thursday, this last Thursday, the first game against South Carolina. They got the win.
South Carolina game.
And she got that golden ticket to get drafted into the AAUSL. That's awesome. That's a big time. That's a big time deal.
Yeah, that is good.
And professional softball's coming to Knoxville too.
Yes,
really?
Yes, we're getting a professional softball team. It's going to be so much fun.
I wonder if she'll stay here.
We'll see. That would be really cool. I'm happy for her.
Yeah, me too.
I hope she kind of gets back on track with what she was doing last season, and I don't even really want to say earlier this season because she's kind of struggled throughout the season, honestly. But I mean, last year we saw a Carlin Pickens that had to carry the Lady Vols.
Is she a 5th year or is she just a senior?
She's just a senior.
Okay.
She's a 4th year, and every year she's had an accolade, y'all. I mean, she was SEC Freshman of the Year, and then the last 2 years she's been SEC Pitcher of the Year, and this year she's just like. It's been a different role from her. They've really rolled with Sage Margetko kind of being their ace. And
that's surprising.
Definitely don't think people saw that coming into the season. And Carlin Pickens has been more the bullpen arm, which is...
Yeah, well, especially the heater they came off of last season.
Right.
Like, you would think they would just put her.
Roll with it.
Yeah.
It's not the worst thing to have, like, the experience coming in at the end of the games, I think it's a luxury to have both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
And listening to Sage speak last night after the game... She to me just like I feel her confidence beaming off of her. Like she seems as confident as I've ever seen Sage, and I've been watching Sage since she came to Tennessee. And Karen Weekly talked about it last night. Talked about how Sage's confidence has totally changed in the last year, and it's made her into a different player. So that could really help the Lady Vols go far this season. And they're going to need it from Sage and Carlin and Aaron.
I honestly think their pitching is really solid right
now.
Yeah. The question for me has to be the offense.
100%.
That's going to be the key, I think, because the pitching will get you pretty far, but it
will.
If you're not scoring runs.
Well, it happened last year. I mean, and the offense actually got better for the Lady Vols as the season went along last year. So maybe we'll see the same thing this year. But again, they got stopped by Texas in the semifinals of the Women's College World Series last year, and they didn't score a run in the game. You got to score a run to win. Yeah. So,
and And they had a pretty good offense going like at the beginning of the season. So
they did.
You're just
this year's offense.
They had like 13 runs in one game or something.
Good top 10 teams.
Yeah.
I mean, they scored 11 against UCLA, who's a top 10 team. They scored 4 against Nebraska. Nebraska has a fantastic pitching staff.
Yeah,
so,
UCLA's number 7, right? Under us.
And so, and Nebraska is up there too. I don't know. And they have a fantastic pitching staff. We pushed 4 across against them. Florida State, we pushed 9 across, who has another good pitching staff. So we know it's there.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's there. It's just going to be about finding what you were doing back earlier in the season. And I don't know if I ever stated the final score of the ETSU game last night was 12-0. So they
run ruled
them in 5 innings. So
this might be a stupid question, and I think I know the answer. But do they play like a series each weekend?
Yes.
Like, is it like a like a 4-game
it's
series
3.
or whatever?
3.
3. Okay.
And now we're always Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I think they're now switching over to Saturday.
Yeah, this
Sunday,
weekend.
Monday.
This weekend is Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
You know the last weekend against Alabama.
Yeah, because I'm covering the first 2, you're covering the last one, and that is Saturday, Sunday, Monday as well. Yeah. Don't know why they're doing that.
I think it's TV because
I think it's TV.
Maybe.
They're trying to get out of the baseball's way, sort of. So
right.
all those, well, the Sunday game actually too this weekend is on SEC Network, and the Mondays is too. So they're getting more of trying to separate them from the baseball competition.
Yeah, and to talk about that series, just to touch on it really quick, because they do have Kennesaw State tonight.
Oh, that's right.
And one more midweek game to kind of get a little prepped for this weekend. And this is the last game of kind of their big homestand that they've had since they had Tennessee Tech a few weeks ago, then Ole Miss, and then South Carolina, and then ETSU last night. Kennesaw State will wrap that up. And they'll head up to Lexington this weekend to take on Kentucky. Kentucky's 1-14 in the conference. They've lost 14 straight. They won their first game of conference play. They're 23-19 overall. Kentucky was looked at to be a pretty solid team that's coming into this season, and it's just not panned out well at all. Kentucky did play last night, and they're playing again tonight. Last night they beat Eastern Kentucky 5-2, and tonight they will play Morehead State at home. And then they will await Tennessee, number 6 Tennessee coming in on Saturday, and that first pitch is slated for 1 o'clock. And as Steven touched on, 6 o'clock Sunday night, 7 o'clock Monday night, both on the SEC Network, which is nice when softball gets to be on live TV.
Yeah,
that's fun.
I'm wondering if they had their little slum, I guess.
And that happens in softball,
right?
Because
they're playing so many games.
Yeah,
it's probably hard to play a series back to back weekends, right? And then, like you said, they have those midweek games. And poor Carlin Pickens' shoulder is probably screaming at her.
Yeah, literally. Bless her heart.
Right? I can't imagine that. So it makes sense to me, and maybe they got their groove back with ETSU.
Yeah, and people forget last season they were 47-17. They lost 17 games. You're gonna lose games, and so obviously, I think there's some games in the postseason that attribute to that as well, because some of it's double elimination. So I mean, they lost some games in there, but 17 losses is a handful of losses, and they were still the number 7 overall national seed and made the Women's College World Series semifinals,
which is excellent.
Yeah. You're going to lose games, y'all. I mean, it's softball. Baseball's going to lose games. Long season.
Yeah,
gruesome season. You're going to lose games. It's just about being able to bounce back from that.
Yeah, softball to me always seems like the longest season.
Yeah, it's long.
It's college, and then specifically I remember some of my friends in high school played softball. And they would start practicing in November,
right?
Or late October, and go till the beginning of May. And I'm like, dude, oh my god! I know, obviously they like it, that's why they do it. But that is such a long season.
It is.
Yeah.
So that's how it is. They're just got to keep playing. The SEC's tough. They do, like I say, have Kentucky this weekend, then they have a bye the next weekend.
Okay.
And then that big Alabama series here in a few weekends back at Sherry Parker Lee, which arguably is going to be one of the biggest series in softball. Is college softball this season.
Number 1.
They are. So they could be a top 5 clash here at Sherry Parker Lee, which trust me, Karen Weekly has seen a lot of in her days. So that will be nothing new for her or for Sherry Parker Lee Stadium.
Yeah.
But
it's
gonna be huge.
The top 4 teams are SEC schools.
Isn't that crazy?
Alabama, Texas, Arkansas, Florida. And then Nebraska is number 5, and then we're number 6. That's crazy. Yeah. Like, that's just so SEC heavy.
The SEC is just so good at softball.
Yeah.
I mean, you go look and, like, if you talk to, most of the softball analysts, like, who's your national champion, I guarantee all of them are going to pick an SEC school.
Yeah.
It's just
probably.
SEC. That's how it is.
Mm-hmm. Tennessee does have that interesting matchup next week on Wednesday against Duke, who's in the top 15, I believe.
That's going to be a really Duke
is 15.
Yeah, every year they play one of these games. Like last year they hosted Clemson here. Clemson was in the top 20 in a midweek game. The year before I think they hosted Duke, and Duke was in the top 15, 20 that year. And so maybe that was last year. Maybe they may have both been last year actually. And that's just they play those cool midweek games. Those are fun. Those are fun to that game's on ESPN2, going to be nationally televised.
Nice.
Everybody gets to watch 2 solid softball teams match up against each other, and it's also just with Tennessee having the bye that weekend, it's nice to get a good matchup in the midweek to play instead of having exactly. And then they have that long break. Yeah, literally. Heel Carlin Pickens.
For Alabama SEC tournament and then playoff. So
yeah. Gosh. Y'all, we're coming. It's crazy.
It's cutthroat.
It is April the 8th, and our semester's winding down. Baseball and softball are kind of winding down.
We have 5 weeks. Yeah. The semester is crazy.
It's the end.
Yeah.
Let's go through a quick run through of the week ahead. We've talked about softball quite a bit, but the other sports that are going on, you have volleyball has another spring match at Louisville, at 7:30 on Friday. They've had an interesting little preseason. They had a game against Vanderbilt. I believe they took it in 5 sets. And they went undefeated down in Georgia Tech with the games that they played there, and I think they come back to Knoxville April 18th for a tournament down in Farragut, somewhere down there, a little way out of Knoxville. And then soccer also has an exhibition game this Saturday versus Liberty at 12. That will be in Regal Stadium, so be a fun watch.
It'll be fun to attend.
Yeah, so for all the there's a lot going on campus.
There is orange and white games this weekend.
That's right.
Tennessee, orange.
Are you guys going to that?
Invite. I'm covering the track. I might ditch a track and field event early and head over there.
Nice.
But I might head over. But it's a busy weekend. Tennis also has senior days. I think women's tennis plays tomorrow night and Saturday.
I think that's right.
And that will be their senior day. They've kind of been stumbling along these last few weeks, and they have some tough matchups against top 20 teams. LSU comes to town on Saturday.
There you go.
And then, and then you have softball kicking off their series on Saturday at Kentucky.
Yes.
And then they play next Wednesday at Duke.
That's some good road games there for the Lady Vols. They're going to be, the softball team's going to hit on the road for a little while, and then they won't play for, I think, a week. Yeah. Literally, they have that game.
Yeah, because then they have the bye after Duke.
On the 21st.
Radford on the 21st. They're going to have 6 days off, which is so good, actually.
Yeah.
You want a break. I kind of like that Karen Weekly did not schedule games that weekend. You could have scheduled a non-conference tournament or something, try to find some teams that weren't playing as well. I like the break. I like a 6-day break, especially with Carlin Pickens having the injury, and then just, Sage Margetko's had to pitch more innings. Same with Aaron Newer. Everybody else is playing a lot.
Yeah.
Just take a rest.
Just chill.
Breathe.
Yeah.
I had 2 midweeks this week. Got a 3-game series this weekend and another midweek, which is going to be 2 days, after the Kentucky series against a good team. So chill, breathe, relax, get ready for the end of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to be it's going to be a lot of fun to watch where this softball team can go the rest of the year, and also going to be fun to watch what Kim Caldwell's able to do in the transfer portal.
It'll get more exciting, I think, from here. The next few weeks are going to be pretty wild, I think, in the portal.
I think so.
For sure.
We shall see how it all...
I love transfer portal season, y'all. It's fun. It's always fun to see.
But
it sucks, but it's fun at the same time.
Terrible for the sport, but very entertaining.
Right. Terrible for the sport, but very entertaining to be he's going there?
Yeah.
She's going there?
Yeah.
What? So that's always fun.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see where all of the men's.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I'm honestly
we have a lot of them.
Yeah, right. Well, I was kind of surprised, like JP Estrella got in the
Cade
transfer
Phillips can
portal.
go from 0 to 0 very fast if he does end up at Alabama, which both his mom was track and field, his dad was a quarterback at Alabama.
Oh, dang.
Yep.
So if that materializes, that he would go from like the number one in many eyes of the Tennessee fans to a very low.
A 0 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that much.
And when he comes back to Knoxville, oh boy,
Ooh,
He'd hear
that's
it.
not good.
you will hear about it.
Yep.
But
That's so funny.
yeah, that's gonna be a lot of fun to see where the men go, see where the women go.
Yep.
They got a lot
Yeah,
of them
that's
too.
true.
Yeah.
So see where
Yeah.
the Paldos end up, Civil, Prawl,
Mm-hmm.
many others. We already know where Cooper's ended
Yeah.
up. But
Shocker. No.
wow.
Shocker.
But yeah, so that's gonna be a lot of fun. But
I hope they, I don't know. I hope they don't go to because obviously I don't really know what their goal is, but hopefully they don't go somewhere not boring, but you know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
kind of hope some of them go to another. I kind of like Cooper
SEC
going there
school, yeah.
because I think Ole Miss we will play them here next year because we played them down there this year. So Cooper will get to come
Ooh,
back here
that
and
is-
she'll get to hear it. That'll be fun.
Yikes.
That will be a lot of fun. So
my
I do
gosh.
kind of like it because then the student section gets rowdy, the fans get rowdy. It's fun.
Hold a grudge, people.
Hold a grudge.
Hold a grudge,
Hold it.
people.
Hold it.
Oh
Hold
my
that
gosh.
grudge. But
So funny.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
great show, guys. That was
Yeah.
fun.
Land this plane for now.
Yes.
For this week.
Land this plane.
For this
Yeah.
week, yeah.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot more to come though with this
next
portal
week,
and softball season and
Yeah.
everything else going on.
Yeah. Well, I guess we will see everybody next week.
Oh yes.
See you next week.